What's up, guys? And continuing on this channel in terms of Oscar sprint, and there's still a lot of movies to cover, but continuing along the through line of my coming of age thread, aspirational real life, get to one of the reasons why I debuted this thread, because I didn't want to get past Oscar season without doing arguably its biggest movie, which is Wicked. And the reason I'm not doing a Healthy Believable Matters on Wicked is because there would be things to talk about with regards to its central romantic relationship and Elphaba and Fiyero. I want to wait until part 2 comes out, because in the grand scheme of things, it's only half of the story, and like the actual central relationship of the show, which is Elphaba and Glinda, like it feels one thing as like a man to talk about the authenticity and elements of romance in general, but like I'm not gonna pick apart the health aspects of a cornerstone female friendship that doesn't feel right to do, because that wouldn't be based on obviously lived experience. A female to female friendship, obviously, but in terms of coming of age, which is what aspirational real life is, that is part 1. Like, part 1, for all intents and its purposes, is basically a college movie. It's not like the whole movie, obviously. You have like the prologue, and you have like the Emerald City section, all that kind of stuff. But like the vast majority of part 1 in terms of its characterization and themes and all that kind of stuff is as a coming of age movie. And with a lot of skills, metaphorically, because we're talking about magic and fictional universes, and a lot of metaphors for what would be the real world, but a lot of aspirational elements on both sides, because you introduce your two leads, Elphaba and Glinda, on like the opposite ends of the experience that one might come from going into school or university or institutions or what have you. Like one as the outsider, but like extremely gifted and etc., and one who has all of like the social acumen and what have you, but otherwise is a little limited. And then you're showing how each of these types of personalities need each other. And grow from that. You talk about the side characters that are different aspirations on them as well. You have Nessa Rose stepping into the light, if you will, especially with regards to authentic representation for handy-capable person. And then, even though part two is going to have some stuff with it, obviously, like the arc of Bach, like, like, you know, been there, done that, and it's when you are that guy and you have the crush on the girl. The aspirational thing to do is, you know, spot the person over there that wonderfully values you and go there, even though the stuff is going to go down in part two. But what punches this up to the higher colors, and I gotta, did I say purple here? Yes, I would. I would say purple, and I'll explain why. Because the movie gives you all of, you know, subplots and micro stories and whatnot going on at the school, but like makes it clear that it's still school. There's stuff going on in the world that isn't being talked about at school, and that's true to life. And this is where we get into the realistic section, which it's like, to me it is fantasy, you know, and like you still have the archetypes of, you know, the vastly gifted protagonist and all that kind of stuff. So, but, you know, like some liberties are taken with realism, obviously, but so green with regards to like the realism, but like the ultra realism is there in service of the aspirations, and the aspirations are showing that this is something that I think all of us can go through and learn, is that, especially in lower school, but even true in like higher education, like it's easy to end up in boxes. In there, you can be the really gifted student doing your thing. You can be the fiyero who's just, you know, there to have fun and, you know, dance and tune out the internal elements of pain. But eventually that veil is going to come up. Eventually you're going to graduate school. Eventually you're going to go into the real world. Eventually, like, you know, the chips are going to come down. And it, like, this film shows that. You get like little snippets of it with the fiyero subplot, like that, you know, he helps her with a lion cub, and that's a crack in the persona that he's showing that he's like actually more than that persona. But like the true meat is the last 30 minutes, which the film knows. Like, the film milks the lead up to Defying Gravity for all it's worth, but like I was completely okay with it. Because in addition to just being great music, like, it is showing what happens when you go into the real world. And when you go into the real world, you'll find out that maybe your teachers either maybe didn't prepare you for it, maybe they had a hidden agenda, maybe they didn't have any real power, maybe your inspiring figures are not so inspiring after all. Maybe that gifted talent that you had is now about to be shoehorned into a lane that's you're going to be forced to use it in a direction you don't want to use it on. And then you have to make a choice. I've seen all the videos that analyzing, like why didn't Glinda get on the broom and that's her own limitations and all that kind of stuff. Like, I've also seen, and the film tries to balance understanding for both of them, that I think it's 5x5 takes. The YouTuber has the video in question talking about that Glinda has a specific skill in regards to the social acumen, and if she and Glinda were to break out and do their own thing, that skill, like what real good could it, like how much contributions could she do? That's true in terms of societal stuff that, metaphorically speaking, that would be true of like, two people debating like starting their own business because they realize the industry isn't actually treating them properly. Like, there's plenty of metaphors you can draw that this film allows you to draw. And there is understanding and empathy towards the person that sees the veil lifted of the real world and still chooses to try to survive within the system. But the true aspiration and in terms of life, like that is aspiring. It's only like a couple of steps with it, so I'll give that a blue and not higher. But you're showing your protagonist, Elphaba, decide very, very quickly within her own strength that the system lied to me, the veil is lifted, they want me to use my skill in a way that I do not want to use it for, so I can't want it anymore. But I still have my own strength. I still have the skill. I know how strong it is. So I'm going my own way. And even if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. Metaphorically speaking, then can that crash and burn? Metaphorically speaking, you're talking about those who go independent or do start their own business or what have you. Like, can that not work? Yes, that can not work. But it also can. And if you know that the system you're in is not supporting you and is not going to support you for what really matters to you, you have to step into your own strength and defy gravity. And that is an extremely aspirational theme to take from the film. And it's one that, yes, it's ultra realistic, it's fantasy and it's musical, but in terms of a coming of age narrative, is one that can be true to life and one that anyone watching can learn from and be inspired by to do their own version of defying gravity. And part 2 is going to show the consequences of that and, you know, do some different things and all that kind of stuff. But looking at part 1 just as its own entity, yes, it is its own inspiring coming-of-age story that's also true to life. So yeah, that's why I'm wearing green today, obviously, because it's the biggest movie of the season for a reason, and I think it has spoken to a lot of people. And is it perfect? No, but in many ways it's like the word inspiring gets thrown out with movies like a lot, and a lot of the times it's kind of perfunctory, but in this case it's true. So more videos to come. Still not fully done with Wicked. You'll find out why in a bit. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you all for watching. See you next time. Cheers.